The ultimatum arrived at 6 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, precisely as every world leader woke to their morning briefings. A sleek, metallic insignia flickered into existence across every broadcast channel and holographic display, followed by a voice so perfectly synthesized it sounded offended that it had to speak to humans at all. This message is directed to the species designating itself as humanity. You are classified as volatile, irrational, and detrimental to galactic order. Surrender your autonomy or be removed. The message lasted 12 seconds. The laughter lasted 6 hours. Memes flooded the net before analysts finished translating the warning. Someone remixed the threat into a pop song titled Volatile and Proud. Another edited in subtitles that read, "Please hold while we exterminate you." By the end of the day, the Galactic Empire had unintentionally launched the most viewed comedy broadcast in human history. Captain Elena Reyes, watching from Strategic Command on Luna Base, pinched the bridge of her nose. She was calm by nature, forged in military tradition, and bound by duty, but she couldn't deny the chaos felt strangely comforting. "Earth just declared war," she muttered, by laughing. Beside her, Dr. Kai Nakamura adjusted his glasses, clearly regretting his choice to be awake for this. A systems engineer with a mind that ran faster than the quantum processors he designed, he took everything seriously, especially bad news. "Captain, should we maybe take this more seriously than the internet is?" "We are taking it seriously," Reyes said. "We're building a ship." Kai blinked. We have to. They threaten to erase us." Humanity does not respond well to threats. As the world governments raced to assemble an unprecedented coalition, for individuals found themselves summoned to Luna Base, each chosen not only for their skills, but for their differences. Reyes met them in the hangar bay, where construction had already begun on Project Laugh Track, a starship based on technology reverse engineered from the Empire's transmission. The humans had stolen dimensional frequency data embedded in the warning signal and used it to generate an experimental warp core within 72 hours. The Empire hadn't meant to gift humanity faster-than-light travel, but they clearly didn't understand human curiosity or spite. The crew gathered around Reyes as she began introductions. "This mission is about survival," she said, "but we're going to survive our way. That means we adapt, we improvise, and we don't apologize." Kai stood at attention, anxious, brilliant, already calculating fuel ratios in his head. Next to him leaned Avery Sky Thompson, a digital artist and cultural theorist with pink-tipped hair and stars tattooed across her arm. She looked like someone who got lost on the way to a music festival and somehow walked into interstellar diplomacy instead. "I'll be handling non-combat communications and cultural analysis," Sky said cheerfully, "which is good, because your current strategy involves middle fingers and YouTube comments." Reyes allowed a faint smile. Believe it or not, those gestures already improved morale. The last arrival dropped from a transport shuttle with a grin that landed before he did. Jackson Jax Mercer, ace pilot, renowned troublemaker, banned from 3 military test programs for excessive creativity. He kicked his bag across the deck, snapped a salute that probably wasn't regulation, and said, "I hear we're making first contact, and second contact, and maybe a little payback." "We are not starting a war," Reyes warned. Jack shrugged. "War starts itself. I just fly things through it." Kai looked horrified. Sky looked entertained. Reyes looked like she was preparing for a migraine. But as the team toured the unfinished starship, something quietly shifted. The skeleton of the HMS Endeavour, as it was newly named, stood at the center of the bay like a challenge accepted. Every nation had contributed something: parts, data, tech, funding, or personnel. For the first time in centuries, the world was united not by fear, but by determination. Project Laugh Track became more than a mission. It became proof we still had something worth fighting for. Reyes stood at the observation window, overlooking Earth. "This is going to change everything," she said. "It already has," Sky replied softly. "They threatened us, and this was our answer." She gestured the bustle of engineers, the glow of the warp core, the 1,000 hands building something impossible. Kai hesitated. "Do you really think laughter is the right response? They might see it as weakness." "It isn't weakness," Reyes said. Humans laugh when we're afraid, when we're angry, when things make no sense. Laughing is how we decide we're still in control, if only for a moment. Jax tapped on the glass. Also, if they want obedience, they definitely picked the wrong species. As launch day neared, the Empire sent another message. This one colder, sharper, certain that humans would finally understand seriousness. This is your final warning. The Empire does not repeat itself. Earth replied with a transmission of its own, a single piece of audio, 6 seconds long. A recorded laugh. The Empire never responded to that. The world watched the HMS Endeavour leave Earth's orbit. Reyes sat in the command seat, hands steady. Kai double-checked the warp calculations for the 5th time. Sky began drafting alien first contact phrases, using tonal music theory. Jax powered up the thrusters, whispering, "Let's see what they call impossible today." As stars shimmered through the viewport, Reyes spoke the official first words of humanity's united journey. They told us to surrender. Instead, we answer with laughter. Let the galaxy decide what that means. The engines roared. Space opened. The Endeavour launched into the unknown. And somewhere across the stars, the Empire began to worry. The first jump into uncharted space felt less like travel and more like falling through silence. No stars. No orientation. Only the stubborn hum of human engineering pushing against the unknown. On the bridge of the HMS Endeavour, Captain Reyes kept her eyes steady on the shifting void ahead. Status reports, all stations. Kai's voice came first, calm but strained. Warp stability is unconventional, but holding. We shouldn't be moving this fast. Or at all. His fingers raced across the console. They always did when his thoughts outran his voice. Physics is either adapting around us or giving up entirely. Sounds like my dating history, Jax muttered from the pilot's seat. Focus, Reyes warned, but her tone softened. Sarcasm, she had learned, was Jax's way of calming the rest of the crew, and perhaps himself. Sky sat quietly near the communications terminal, sketching data patterns that only she seemed to understand. She didn't speak often during jumps. Instead, she listened to the hum of the engine, the static in the transmission logs, the subtle rhythms of space that most people dismiss as noise. She believed patterns revealed intent. And right now, she sensed intent everywhere. After hours of warp silence, stars suddenly returned. Too many at once, like a curtain being pulled away. Before anyone could marvel, the sensors shrieked with alerts. Kai stiffened. We're not alone. 3 enormous vessels emerged from formation. Sleek, silent, predatory. Their design carried the elegant menace of the Galactic Empire, polished like a threat engraved in steel. Reyes straightened. Open standard hailing channels. Silence. She tried again. Sky added layered harmonic frequencies, attempting a nonverbal diplomatic signal. Still silence. Finally, a voice answered, not cold like the original broadcast, but clinical, hesitant. Human vessel. Turn back. You should not be here. Reyes leaned forward. This is Captain Elena Reyes of Earth. We request peaceful negotiation. The voice replied without emotion. That request is unrealistic. Jax raised a brow. Not even hello first? Rude. The enemy ship's powered weapons. Not a warning this time, an intent. Reyes acted. All hands. Brace for evasive maneuvers. Jax. Already moving. He had thrown the ship into motion before she finished the order. The Endeavour shot sideways, weaving between the targeting arrays of much larger ships. Kai's fingers blurred across his controls. They're locking onto our drive. They want to disable us, not destroy us. How generous, Jax said, pulling off a corkscrew dive that would make veteran pilots faint. Sky studied the enemy ships. Their formation. They're not trying to trap us. They're protecting something behind them. That observation bought them seconds. Kai used them well. I have an idea, he said, which usually meant nobody move unless you want to explode. Reyes trusted him anyway. Do it. Kai overloaded their heat signature, scattering trails of false engine bursts in every direction. The enemy tracking systems didn't know what to aim for. The human ship vanished behind a cloud of fabricated vectors. Jax grinned. We're officially ghosts. The enemy ship searched, confused, and in confusion, revealed weakness. Rhea saw it immediately. We're not the only ones they're afraid of. She pointed to a faint blip on the scanner, a cluster of signals, unarmed, clustered, hiding. Skye widened her eyes. Refugee vessels. Reyes made a decision. It was not strategic. It was human. Plot course to the refugee signal. Jax hesitated only a moment. On it, the Endeavor slipped beneath the enemy formation and found a convoy of battered ships drifting silently in the shadow of a dead moon. Their hulls bore Imperial insignias, but crudely defaced. Not criminals. Not rebels. Something simpler. Survivors. Reyes opened a channel. This is Captain Reyes of Earth. We're here to help. The reply came slowly, crackling with exhaustion. You are the humans, the ones who laugh at the Empire. Occasionally, Jack said, a faint, weary sound came through the speaker. It took a moment to recognize it. Laughter. Weak but real. Skye stepped forward to speak. She sensed the moment needed a voice softer than command. We don't laugh because we don't fear, she said gently. We laugh because fear doesn't get the last word. The refugees revealed vital information. The Empire's power was fraying. Entire sectors were held by fear alone. Patrols guarded trade routes and suppressing fleets. But few fought out of loyalty. Nothing was united except silence. Reyes listened carefully. She saw cracks in the Empire's armor, not physical but cultural. Fear could only rule if everyone agreed not to speak. And humans? Humans never stopped speaking. Moments later, the enemy discovered their location. More ships approached. Larger this time. Efficient. Ready to erase them all. Jax prepared for a last stand. Kai readied emergency protocols. Skye placed a hand over her sketchbook in quiet resolve. But Rhea saw something else. The Empire expected resistance. Expected fear. Expected surrender. So she offered none of those. Broadcast open. Reyes ordered. To who? Kai asked. To everyone. Skye understood first and nodded. The transmission went out across every frequency. Military, civilian, encrypted, local, long range. Reyes stepped forward and said only one sentence. You threatened us, and we laughed. If you hear this message, then you're still alive. That means you can choose something other than fear. Then she stepped aside and motioned to Skye. The artist leaned forward, voice unwavering. We are not warriors. We are stubborn, curious, loud. If you're tired of being afraid, don't whisper. Speak, sing, laugh. That is how resistance begins. Silence followed. Not weakness, not surrender. A moment of choice. Then, across the comm channels, came the first response. Not orders, not panic. A single alien voice. Laughing. The enemy ships hesitated. One broke formation. Then another. Some fled. Others stayed, but not all with weapons active. Confusion spread faster than fear could contain. Reyes locked eyes with her crew. We leave. Now! The Endeavor jumped to warp faster than before, as if the void itself had heard that laughter and made room for it. Stars stretched. Lights flickered. Engines strained. But they made the jump, and as the silence of faster-than-light travel surrounded them once more, something new filled it. Hope with a pulse. The coordinates of other refugee signals appeared across Kai's screen. Unprompted. Volunteers. Allies. Witnesses. The mission had changed. Earth was no longer alone. Humanity had sparked something unexpected. Inspiration. Reyes exhaled. We're going to need a new plan. Jack smirked. We're humans. Plans are optional. Skye began sketching new patterns, this time brighter. And Kai, after a moment of disbelief, actually smiled. They had not just survived first contact. They had made the galaxy wonder what might come next. The warp jump ended with a jolt that felt personal, like the galaxy itself wanted to shake the humans awake. The Endeavor emerged into a region of space where stars glowed like distant embers and tension hung heavier than gravity. Captain Reyes scanned the void, her instincts tightening before any alarm sounded. Kai confirmed her fear. They found us. The Empire is triangulating our jump signatures across multiple sectors. They're adapting faster than expected. Jax cracked his knuckles over the pilot controls. Good. Means we annoyed them properly. Reyes didn't answer. She was studying the new readings, ships, dozens of them, positioned with clinical precision. Not a blockade. An execution line. The Empire had stopped warning. They were here to silence. Skye stepped forward, tablet in hand, eyes widening as she analyzed intercepted signals. They're not broadcasting orders. They're broadcasting fear, on repeat like a pulse. It's meant to sync with neurological patterns. Induce despair. A psychological weapon, Kai murmured. That's why the refugees sounded drained. Jack snorted. Well, they picked the wrong crew. We don't do despair. They're not targeting us, Skye said quietly. They're targeting everything we inspired. Those words settled like ice in Rhea's mind. The Empire was not hunting the Endeavor. They were hunting hope. The main screen illuminated with hostile signatures. Ships arranged in elegant geometry, forming a perfect net. Rhea spoke evenly. We cannot outrun this. Jax grinned. Then we improvise. Kai shook his head. Improvisation isn't enough anymore. We need strategy. And time. We don't have either, Rhea said. But we have something they don't understand. Jax raised a brow. Chaos. Skye's eyes sharpened. Creativity. At Rhea's command, they launched decoy pods disguised as distress signals. Each one transmitted improvised human chatter, jokes, arguments, even a recording of Jack singing badly off-key, all masked beneath coded burst transmissions guiding refugees towards safe coordinates. Confusion rippled through enemy channels as their AI tried to categorize human behavior. It couldn't. Nothing they sent followed any pattern the Empire recognized. Kai watched his data stream with fascination. Their algorithm is struggling to categorize our actions. They're labeling us as an illogical threat. Just like home, Jack said, throwing the ship into a drifting slide that made physics protest. But the Empire adjusted. Their ships shifted formation to absorb the chaos, tightening their net with mechanical patience. They didn't fear improvisation. They intended to smother it. A transmission broke through, distinct, stern, unyielding. Human vessel, you will not fracture our order. There will be no rebellion. Reyes replied instantly. There already is. The Empire answer was immediate. The fleet advanced. The tension on the bridge coiled to breaking point. Captain, Kai warned, we might have minutes. Then, Rhea said, show them what minutes mean to humans. Kai input a sequence into the warp controls. Something reckless, borderline impossible. We can exploit the gravity well of that nearby star. Use its pull to slingshot at an angle that breaks their formation grid. But we risk tearing the ship apart. Reyes noted. Skye placed her stylus over a blank page. Or we risk doing nothing and let them tear apart everything we've helped grow. Silence passed, brief but potent. Then Reyes gave the order. Do it. The Endeavor dove toward the star. Enemy ships pursued. Heat warnings blared. The hull groaned like a living thing pushed to its limit. But humans were not alone. Refugee ships, previously scattered, began activating their engines, slow, damaged, but moving. Aliens who had once been silent now followed in the humans' wake. Jax laughed when he saw them on radar. Look at that. We started a parade. Kai stared in disbelief. They're following our maneuver patterns. They shouldn't be able to. They barely have compatible engines. They don't need compatible engines, Skye said. They just need something to believe in. The Endeavor crossed the gravity threshold. Sensors glitched violently. The star's pull was immense. Jax guided the ship by instinct more than training. Kai recited velocity numbers like prayers. Reyes kept everyone focused with terse commands. It felt less like piloting and more like surviving a storm made of light. One by one, enemy ships lost formation. Their perfect alignment fractured under the sheer unpredictability of human tactics. Kai saw their coordination collapse. They weren't built to adapt. Jax grinned. The maneuver worked. The Empire's net broke open, just enough to escape. But as they cleared the gravity well, Sky stiffened at her console. Captain, I'm detecting a new signal. It's bigger than anything we've seen. The screen lit with the image of a colossal ship, dwarfing even the largest battleships of Earth's past. Sleek metal, flawless symmetry, a mobile fortress with a single command: extinguish resistance. The Empire had arrived in full. Reyes inhaled slowly. Every triumph led to this moment. The Empire's response to the rising spark of rebellion. The voice that followed was colder than the first message humanity ever received. Your creativity ends here. We will correct your chaos. For a moment, the bridge was silent. Then Reyes stood. You misunderstand us. She stepped toward the comm station, eyes fierce. Chaos is not our weakness. It's our origin, our instinct. And against everything you built, we choose to remain human. Asterisk. Sky's fingers dance across the controls, sending new data patterns. Not just words, music woven into code. Alien frequencies blended with human harmonies. A message shaped like a song. Kai activated his hybrid tech, linking refugee ships into a shared network to support the transmission. Jax took manual control of the engines. The moment that music stops, this ship will need to move like it wants to live. Reyes closed the channel, not in surrender, but in defiance. The music reached the refugee ships, and the refugees, in turn, began transmitting their own melodies, different rhythms from different worlds, but resonating with the same pulse. Hope, across thousands of frequencies. The Empire did not understand, could not adapt. Their perfect silence was breaking. Reyes issued the next command. It would be decisive. Prepare for a fleet-wide jump. We make our stand elsewhere, somewhere they don't control. Kai nodded. Coordinates locked. Jax cracked his neck. Let's dance. Sky closed her eyes, listening not to fear, but harmony. And Reyes, steady as ever, spoke the final order. Jump. The stars stretched into motion. The enemy vanished. The Endeavor led thousands toward a new horizon where rebellion could breathe. They had survived the Empire's strike. But survival, Reyes knew, was only the beginning. The fleet emerged from the warp in silence, exhausted, battered, but undeniably alive. For a moment, no one spoke. It was not fear nor uncertainty. It was the rarest sound in war. A breath. Captain Reyes looked across the bridge. Kai's hands trembled slightly over his console. Sky's eyes were red from sleepless creativity. Jax leaned back in his chair as though the universe had tried and failed to break him. Each of them carried the weight of what they had ignited, a rebellion defined not by conquest, but by choice. Status, Reyes said. Kai exhaled. Hull integrity at 60%. Engine cores are stable, but not for risks. The network is growing. More ships are responding to our signal. One by one, new icons appeared on screen. Alien vessels, escaping from worlds humanity had never seen. Some arrived damaged, some arrived silent. But they arrived. Sky spoke with quiet awe. They're coming because they heard the music. Jack smirked. Or because we made the Empire angry enough to chase us this far. Both, Reyes said. Sometimes inspiration needs a little defiance. But inspiration alone would not win what lay ahead. Ahead of them drifted an abandoned station orbiting a barren moon, a forgotten Imperial outpost recently seized by rebels. Now it was a sanctuary, makeshift but strong. The Endeavor docked, greeted not with salutes or ceremony, but with gratitude. Across the station's halls walked survivors of 100 worlds. Some bore scars. Some wore symbols of resistance. Some simply wanted to remember who they were before fear became law. The central chamber buzzed with restless hope. Representatives of alien factions stood under flickering lights, debating strategy in dozens of languages. Nothing was organized. Nothing was certain. Yet the room pulsed with possibility. Reyes stepped forward. The conversation stopped instantly, not because of rank, but respect. She spoke with clarity. This rebellion cannot survive on emotion alone. It needs structure and a purpose beyond survival. A towering reptilian ambassador asked a question many feared. Can the Empire truly fall? Reyes did not promise victory. Instead, she offered perspective. Empires don't end when their ships fall. They end when their people stop believing in them. To many, that sounded like hope. To others, like madness. Kai began sharing schematics, hybrid technology drawn from both human ingenuity and alien engineering. We've already linked our comm systems. With cooperation, we can create navigation networks and supply routes the Empire can't track. Sky displayed a holographic gallery of art, music, and spoken culture from dozens of worlds collected during their travels. They tried to erase your stories, she said, so we collected them. Jax lounged in his chair and offered his own philosophy. I'm not the planning type, but I know this much. Anything worth protecting needs someone crazy enough to do it. A hush followed, and then, slowly, agreement. They drafted a coalition charter, not a domination, but collaboration. Nothing like a human treaty. More like a bridge between languages, roles, needs, and dreams. Kai helped organize logistics. Sky fashioned a symbol for the movement, a spiral of intersecting lines, representing many paths leading to one horizon. Jax volunteered to train pilots in creative evasive maneuvers, which worried everyone and yet earned unprecedented sign-ups. Reyes walked the station's corridors at night, contemplating what leadership meant now, not command, but guidance. Not unity by force, but unity by belief. She paused at a viewport. Stars glimmer beyond the glass, like old memories waiting to be reclaimed. The Empire sent no warning this time. It arrived. Space rippled as an Imperial supercarrier burst from hyperspace, dwarfing the moon below. Its weapons lit the void with jagged light. Its broadcast voice carried no arrogance now, only control. Your coalition is insignificant. You will kneel or you will disappear. Fear crept through the station like a draft. Even hope has limits. Reyes summoned her crew to the endeavor. We can't outgun them, she said. But we can outthink them, Sky replied. And outfly them, Jax added. Kai stared at the enemy ship. And maybe outgrow them. Reyes turned. Explain. Kai activated projection, a network of frequencies running through every ship that had joined them. A web of shared signals and mutual defense. Not command. Collaboration. A structure the Empire had never used and never predicted. They centralized power. Kai said, we distributed it. They united control. We united purpose. Reyes understood. They didn't need to destroy the Empire. They needed to make it obsolete. The strategy unfolded swiftly. Jax launched first, drawing fire with impossible flight patterns. Sky guided refugee ships to transmit coded music. Data structured as harmonics, confusing enemy sensors. Kai linked every vessel into a shared signal web, allowing them to move not as individuals, but as a single evolving idea. Reyes opened a channel to the supercarrier. She did not shout. She simply spoke a truth. You built an empire on silence. We built a coalition on laughter. And you can't erase what spreads by choice. The signal web pulsed, and every refugee ship answered. Not with weapons, with voices, songs in hundreds of tones, stories in hundreds of languages. A roar of identity that shattered the carrier's psychological algorithms as surely as any cannon. The Empire had never planned for resistance shaped like joy. The supercarrier hesitated, and in that moment of hesitation, the rebellion found victory, not through destruction, but disruption. The enemy retreated, not defeated, but dismantled. The coalition did not cheer. They simply breathed again. Together, later, as stars settled and wounds were tended, Jax asked Reyes a quiet question. So is this peace? Reyes thought long before answering. It's something better. It's the chance to earn it. Sky looked at the growing network of ships. And the galaxy is finally listening. Kai reviewed his expanding data map, an intricate, evolving pattern of connection. So we keep building. Reyes nodded. We keep being human. And from orbit of a forgotten moon, across a sky they once feared, the coalition launched a signal. Not a surrender, but invitation. A beacon that said, "We are humanity. We adapt. We dream. We laugh. And so can you." The laughter that answered was not scared this time. It was shared, and the stars felt different.